So good morning, friends. So my talk is use of intracameral phenocaine. No financial disclosure to make. Is mydriasis a concern for the cataract surgeon? We know that if we want to do safe, simple cataract surgery, we need a really good dilated and stable pupil. And the complication rates are very high if the pupil is unstable or the pupil is small. So if the pupil becomes small intraoperatively, or even the pupil is not dilated and we do not use the iris hook and dilators, then there are more chances of iris trauma, because if you go closer to the iris border, it will get sucked into the phaco tip if your settings are high. And once it gets sucked into the phaco tip, there are so many inflammatory mediators are released. There are more than 36 types of inflammatory mediators which are released, that the pupil starts becoming smaller and smaller, and that area gets partially destroyed forever. Whenever you will see the post-operative, you will see the white spot and atrophy in that segment. And if we keep the phaco settings on the lower side, then removal of the nuclear fragments becomes difficult. So we have got to be nearly at least 1 millimeter away from the pupillary border to do our maneuvers. So if the pupil is small, then it becomes little tricky. And there are more chances of posterior capsular rupture in cases of a small pupil. And particularly if it happens to be soft cataract, then you go inside, you can't see, and suddenly there is a cataractous material sucked and you can see the PCR over there. The prolonged surgery time also increases the risk of endophthalmitis and macular edema and inflammation and corneal edema. So if it is a prolonged surgery, more fluid going in, more time you are taken, there are more chances of post-op eye not being quiet, vision not being 6/6 as you wish your patient should have next day. So what happens if the mydriasis is good? Then you are able to do good capsular access. Whenever I train my residents, I ask them, because the residents have got a tendency to make the CCC small. They are really scared that the CCC might run away. So with that fear, they tend to make it small. And from the small hole, when you want to take out the material, it becomes tougher, whether it's a nucleus removal, whether it's a epinuclear removal, whether it's a cortex removal, whether it's IOL implantation. That means every step of surgery becomes difficult. But if the rexus size is good, good means all the rexus size should be between 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter of size. We don't need the rexus more than 5.5 millimeter in size, because we want our IOL optics to be covered by the CCC. But if you have got to err on the smaller side, it's better to err on to the bigger size. That means if the rexus is 6.5, particularly if you are operating hard cataract, no harm will be done to the patient and your surgical steps will be easier. So when we want to do a cortical cleaving hydro dissection, if the rexus is small, there are more chances of the posterior capsule opening up, because the fluid is not able to come into the anterior chamber and then we pressure onto the posterior capsule. If we want to do the capsular polishing, it is easier. IOL implantation is easier, particularly the 3-piece lenses. And if there are some 4-piece lenses, other big lenses, so that becomes much more easier. And for accurate positioning of the IOL, also you need a well-dilated pupil. So there are some disadvantages, not a major disadvantage of topical medication. One is the delayed onset of mydriasis. It is not instantaneously. So I got to time the patient. Like suppose I call my patient at 7:30 a.m. in my theater. A patient is coming all the way from the Mathura to get his surgery done. So I got to tell them, when you get down half an hour, 1 hour before reaching my center, go for a loo, taking a cup of tea, please put a drop at that time. Then as soon as you enter the hospital, you put a drop at that time, by the time formalities are being done. So if he puts at, say, at 5 a.m. when he is traveling from his hometown and reaching at 7:30, that means there may be iris fatigue. So you have got to time the pupillary dilatation so that the pupil is adequately dilated and there is no fatigue. And there's some ocular toxicity is definitely there because of the medication, and the pupil may be inconsistent, and there are more chances of intraoperative miosis, and systemic absorption, particularly phenylepinephrine, may cause increase of the blood pressure. In cardiac patients, it may be a little tricky. So now we are lucky to have the product available to us, which is called Phenocan Plus, and we thank the Antode for bringing out this product, which is ready-made. I have been using Gylocart Adaline in all my patients. I never operated any patient without Gylocart Adaline, even if the pupil is fully dilated. So I was doing topical phaco. I was the first to start the topical phaco in North India. And there was a lady from US, I don't remember. So she was talking up the intracameral Gylocart. I said, I operated thousands of cases without putting the drops. What is so big deal about it? She said one sentence, use it, your patient will appreciate it. Our patient does not know how much pain should be there when you are operating. So, but we know that if you put on a Gylocart, patient will be far more comfortable and happy than if we don't use it. So it's very, very important that we make our patient comfortable. Not only this, I keep Jalocaine 4% a bottle, I autoclave it, and which is on the sister's trolley. So on a critical step, particularly when I'm injecting an implant which is a wound supported, I put a drop beforehand because the whatever drops you are using, it may wean off. Anytime patient is uncomfortable, now you got a sterile 4% Jalocaine on your table, you can keep on pouring it instead of taking from the vial outside and put it over there. So this product has got a tropicamide, phenylephrine and lidocaine all mixed in one and can be stored at a room temperature comfortably. So 95% of the pupil dilation was achieved within a mean of 28.6 seconds. It takes even less than that most of the time. And the mean pupil diameter was around 7 millimeters, and it remains stable. And there was no clinically significant change while the surgery was going on, less than 1 millimeter of change was there. So I'll show you some of the video. So now this is a fully dilated pupil, absolutely no problem. You can go ahead and do the surgery, but I want the anesthesia and maximum possible dilatation. So even in this case, I'll put a little bit of Phenocan inside the eye. And now you can see the pupil is far better dilated and stable. So even, and you can put the toric multifocal or whatever lens you want without any problem. So this is slightly mid-dilated. So borderline pupil, if it starts becoming a smaller, maybe a problem. So I will like to really put a little bit of Phenocan in this so that if it gets dilated, fine. At least it should not becoming a smaller while I'm operating. So at times the pupil may be closed, you may not see any benefit, but it remains then stable at that size, whatever it is. So this is a little much more smaller pupil. We use it over here. There is no dilatation, no problem, but at least it will remain of the same size. And if need be, if you feel comfortable, cataract is not complicated, you can go ahead and do this surgery on this pupil size, and you can use the viscodilatation if needed little bit to do the making the rhexis, which you can make under the pupillary border also. So you put on a viscoelastic to dilate it, and if you do not feel comfortable, you can always use rings or hooks to do it. And in this case, we have put high viscosity viscoelastic. You can see that I'm putting onto the pupillary border, and pupil is getting stressed. So you can add approximately a millimeter of dilatation, may be done more, and then you can do the rhexis. Go ahead and do the rhexis at the pupillary border, even beyond the pupillary border. There is no problem because with the turn of the capsule, you can see where the capsule is. Even if the pupil is small, your rhexis should not be small because what holds back the nucleus is the rhexis, not the pupil. So pupil is only you have got to avoid the trauma to the iris, but it is the rhexis which causes the problem when you are operating. So at places you can see that my rhexis is either on the border or even beyond the border. So my rhexis size is definitely around 4.5 millimeter or so, at least more than 4 millimeter. So this way you can complete the surgery. And particularly, you have got to be careful when you do the hydrodilatation. If you inject too much of a fluid, there is a sudden pressure and irritation of the ciliary body and iris, and pupil may become smaller. At the same time, we want good rotation of the nucleus. So you may have to do multiple site hydrodelineation to complete this surgery. So but if this pupil is even further smaller, so in this case also I will inject the phenocaine, particularly to anesthetize the iris. Even if it does not get dilatation, it will sustain, and at least there will be anesthesia, because all my surgeries are in a topical medication. And after putting this phenocaine, if it does not dilate, then you know that this pupil is too small to complete the surgery. So either use any of the ring devices to go ahead and do the surgery. So do not continue to do the surgery in such a small pupil. And some patients are allergic. A patient had shown somewhere else, and he said after putting the drops there was allergy. We do not know which drop it was. So in such cases, or the patient has forgotten to put the drops. Some patients just walk in your clinic. Some patients come from out of the town and they want to get their surgery done immediately. So you can just go and put the drops without any prior medication, and these people dilate beautifully on the table itself within a matter of seconds. So you can see that there is instantaneous dilatation when you put these drops, and you can go ahead and do the surgery. So the advantage is the prompt onset of pupillary dilatation. You are actually with this available and into your inventory, you don't have to worry that whether pupil is dilated well or not, whether your staff is putting the drop outside or not. No, I ask myself, don't worry about it, because there are a lot of things to do already to see the BP, see the blood sugar. So now you keep on adding the drops and then keep on checking whether the pupil is dilated, and no more required. There is a stable mydriasis, safe and effective alternative with the less risk of systemic exposure, particularly in cardiac and hypertensive patient. Significantly less pain or sensation of pressure, and this is DCGI approved, and there is a AIOS guideline also available, those who want to read it. And particularly if you are doing it under block, there is not a problem, but if you are doing any topical surgery, whether it's a glaucoma or whether it's a cataract or any other intraocular surgery, now we do virtually all intraocular surgeries topical, please do use some anesthetic and mediatic. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. Harbans Lal, for an excellent presentation, and no doubt this has actually revolutionized management. Thank you. It's actually revolutionized the management and has really eased us for all categories, all types of patients, as Dr. Harbans Lal has mentioned. It is really a convenience now intraoperatively. Thank you, Dr. Harbans Lal.
Yeah, if anybody has got any question, I'll be more than happy to answer.
It's been a crystal clear talk, sir.
Okay. Only thing is there was some debate about it, whether we should use it routinely or only in a selected cases where pupil is not dilated. I use it routinely in all the patients, even if the pupil is fully dilated, because it adds to anesthesia, it keeps it stable, and I don't have to change my surgical step. My staff knows, my sister knows that after this instrument has to come into my hand. So they always know, as soon as I made a side port incision, my hand goes out, I know that the phenoc is in my hand. The next time the hand goes out, the viscoelastic is in my hand. Next time it goes out, they know that they have got to 2.8 millimeter or 2.2 millimeter keratotome. So if your steps are smooth line, and every step, every time, your staff is very comfortable and you are also very comfortable.
Absolutely. I also use it routinely now. It's a part of my step to prevent intraop meiosis over time. So if the pupil starts coming down, you're still struggling and you feel, no, I can get away with it, and then you have an iris shaft. After
sir,
that, it's very difficult to get it to dilate again.
Sir, I have a question actually.
Yeah.
I mean, for pupils which don't dilate preoperatively with tropicacil and phenylephrine, T+, they don't seem to be responding very well with phenocaine also. Does it,
so if you have not dilated, there is no problem. But at the same time, there is no reason not to dilate also. So that means you don't have to be off. Earlier we were obsessed about preoperative dilatation. We don't have to be obsessed. But I think adding one drop is good enough, because then I think it's better to have one drop at least put preoperatively. Yeah. What was it?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, she wants to.
Sir, my question is like, are you using in infants, in pediatric cataract surgery also phenocaine plus? Because
Yes,
in infants we
yes.
have issues with the dilatation of the pupil.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
are you
yeah.
using
Just a little careful. You have to inform your anesthetist about it, because if the blood pressure goes up, then you have to inform them. They know it's all okay.
Even in the cardiac patient, other patients, because the quantity which you put inside is too small. And if you got any doubt, so immediately you take a viscoelastic and whatever is inside comes out, and ask them to wash it. Because from the intracameral absorption to the system will be much less. It will be the conjunctival absorption which will be more, and to the sac will be more. So if you wash it out immediately, so there is hardly anything which required over there. So there is nothing to worry about. The cardiac patients are